Well, listen, folks, we're going to be talking about the Dave Chappelle doc, Unstoppable. And just in case there's room, the Philly mob thing, this Philly mob thing.
Spears and Steinberg. You know what the it is? Aries and Andy, Jew and the Jerk. You know it's time to get this work. The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections. Always sleep. Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes. Cry, we lit. There's levels to this before you was on your mama. Aries Spears don't give a fuck. We talk about race a lot, racism. Much love to my loyal bag holders, rollers, loaders. We got them in the folders. The whole world on our shoulders. Spears and Steinberg. Yeah.
So listen, folks, I think we're going to be gone for what, 10 days, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, between us being here in Arlington, and then from here we leave straight to the Bahamas. Where your girl is, with a Bahamian nigga, Dexter St. Jack. He swing this well. What a girl like you doing on an island like this, girl? This that Bahamas should be hell right now. Tell me what you crying about. Eddie Murphy raw. And then we do a New Year's Eve in the Bahamas, and then we slide off to St. Louis and finish there, and then it's back home.
For like 3 days.
Home for 3 days?
Yeah.
And then where we go?
Then we have like, don't we have like theaters after St. Louis?
No.
Incidentally, Pittsburgh was canceled.
Yeah, I saw that. No. Then we have Irvine. And then.
Oh, we back on my side, though.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm staying on that side while we're out there.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
Well, listen, folks, we're going to be talking about the Dave Chappelle doc, Unstoppable. And just in case there's room, the Philly mob thing, this Philly mob thing just keeps. But I got a feeling because this Dave Chappelle special, that's going to eat the hour. So again, the Philly thing is coming, baby. It's coming. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure, I'm almost guaranteed we do it in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Because we're going to need something to talk about, and we haven't discussed what that is yet. So before we get in, listen, man, every Christmas, every birthday I've had for the last tenure of dealing with this guy here, he's always got me something. And sometimes I feel bad because I'm like, do you ever get Andy anything? But I do so much.
What do you do?
What do you do?
Are you two niggas serious?
I'm just kidding. Of course I'm not serious.
But anyway, Andy's always got me something that I kind of was like, oh, that's, anytime you get something, you're grateful. But it was like, okay, nice. It was a beautiful thought. Not saying I didn't like it, but, what I'm ultimately getting to is very rarely do people give you something that you go, well, no, wait a minute. This is meaningful. And he got me something for Christmas because he knows I'm a video game guy. And he got me the PlayStation, what's it called? Backbone. So as a gamer, I hook my phone up to it, and then I'm in business, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I did wonder is, so obviously whatever game you download on your phone, right? Once you put your phone in the contraption, how does it know to obey to the buttons?
I have no idea. I'm not a gamer.
Yeah, that's...
But it basically turns your phone into a PlayStation.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, but now you see the what we call in the PlayStation controllers, the L3 and the R3 sticks, and then you have the directional pad, and then of course you got the corresponding buttons. How does your phone know to respond to this?
Because
I can't wait to see it.
It's in the. There's words. Listen, guys. By the way, just before we get, I had to get a little bit of medication. I'm a little high. We'll see how this works.
And so I was so grateful for it when Andy gave it to me yesterday, and I am grateful, and I love you, dude.
Thank you, man. I love you too. That's
Oh,
why
man,
I always. But during the holidays, dude, I think about this, and I've done this with a very short amount of time with you, considering how long your career is. Dude, I can't imagine doing all the stuff you do, and you did it by yourself. And holidays, nothing, no one. Dude, I don't get how you were able to do it.
Very depressing life.
It's not. I know it wasn't a depressing life for you, but I mean, there is some.
No, there's moments now where it stinks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
just and I always when we're on the road, I was like, yeah, this is part of, the team, man. You gotta, you're together. You're in this.
Listen, man, not to get on some sentimental or some, mushy, but you got to understand, I prior to you and Mark, this is what it was. And you get used to solitude. That don't mean you like it. Now, there are times when that's absolutely peaceful and what you need, but then there are times of boredom. And I got to tell you, man, I can't see this now without the two of you guys. Because this guy here, like, he's really grown on me like a piece of my body I can't show in public, but it's there.
I think it's like a fungus.
He's like testicles. They're with you, but you can't take them out and show people. You know what I'm saying?
Put your goddamn away.
See, like that. You know what I mean? It's a cute look. He's like, if you go somewhere and you eat at a fine restaurant and the waiter goes, dessert, the option's nice, but you don't always want dessert. But it's nice that it's on the menu.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like a nice tiramisu.
I was just about to say tiramisu.
Or, because your last name is Silverstein, a tiramisu.
Oh, I like that.
But don't boom. Okay. So let's dive in. The first thing that
Now Andy can't retire.
Oh, he can.
lock the door, Bronx Tale. Now you can't leave. Dude, I immediately was thrown because when I'm watching this, it's called Unstoppable, but it's not until you watch it right from the beginning, it smacks you in your face because it's called the Unstoppable Act 1. And I went, why didn't Netflix just call it that? Why did they just call it Unstoppable? Just say Unstoppable. The way Pryor used to have his albums have the word in it openly. See, this is the moist time we live in now.
But yeah, it is a different time though. But then you would have had a bunch of white people trying to say the name.
But
If you're
would
white,
they-
can you say it?
When have you not been able to say it if you're white?
Well, like in conversation. Like if I called it that.
Well, no white person would call it that in conversation unless they're amongst themselves.
Hey, if you guys.
Yeah, or they'll say, "You guys seen the Unstoppable?" Listen, I just think, and this is why, as I've said on this pod, when black comedians curse, there's a sauce to it. For us, cursing is an ingredient.
Yeah.
And it's a spice. And there's just something potently powerful about calling it the Unstoppable, especially when you see the context in which the special is put. And the thing that I also, when he said Act 1, boy, I tell you, this is the thinking machine that is great writing for Dave, because there's no way he put that out there, meaning there's going to be a follow-up called The Unstoppable Act 2. Great storytelling, great drama, makes you do this. What's next? Oh. And that's what Dave does.
I said Dave is, to me, I can never get past Pryor, but like it's always, it's right there. It's A and B, like number one, A and B to me.
And what you up, and let me go ahead and jump ahead just to tie this in. But the way that it ends, which I thought, Dave always ends the specials with the black and white stills of him and the other famous people who he loves and admires and vice versa, which is very cool. But what I didn't expect was how they really ended it. Took his picture, put it in the file, closed the file, FBI files, the Unstoppable. Like he's The FBI's on him now. What great. What a. It's like if that was a book from cover to cover. What a great book. And now you want the sequel even more. This knows how to get you, man.
I think before you even get to that, it's just the way that it was dropped.
Remind me.
How's it dropped?
It was dropped after the fight. And it was unannounced.
Unannounced, right. And as many eyes were on that fight.
And then it's Chappelle special.
Now I wonder how much is that is him or marketing outside of him. But it's associated with him, though.
Yeah, he has to agree to it, if nothing
Right.
else. I thought that was genius because everybody was going, "Did you see this? What?
Right.
What's special?"
Right.
And everybody's like running around like it caused even more fervor.
Incidentally, being here in Arlington, this guy who has this podcast called Boss Talk. I've done it before. He paid me to do it again yesterday, which is why is what I did yesterday. He picked me up, drives me a half hour out to his little studio shop. We do the thing, and he tells me, of all the people he's interviewed, one of the people he interviews is Ali Sadiq. Cut to, we get done with the pod. There's a barbershop, couple spaces down. I just want to go quickly run in because I'm thinking maybe I can get my hair cut for real quick and then make it back in time for the show. So I open up the barbershop door. Number of Mexicans. It's a Mexican barbershop. So I said, nah, I can't do this. So as I'm leaving, he goes, yo, did you want to get your hair cut? I go, yeah. He goes, yeah, my man got a barbershop literally 15 minutes from here. We'll take you and have you hook you up. He calls his man, tell him I'm coming. He goes, we're pressed for time, so Aries got to get in and out. Bet. We go to the barbershop. Gang of hood in there. They showed me so much love and their jaws dropped when they saw me come in. Cut to, the guy that's cutting my hair is cousins with Ali Sadiq. And I said on the podcast, before I even knew that, I think Ali Sadiq, are you familiar with him?
Yeah.
I think he's one of the most underappreciated, undervalued, same thing as underappreciated, but he deserves more flowers. But that motherfucker's a beast. And here's why I'm saying this. When you go, Dave Chappelle dropped a special nobody knew about. I didn't know this nigga is dropping his third special in a year. Ali Sadiq is a monster, man.
He puts out a lot of and I've seen things where he just basically, it's not even fancy. It's just single camera at a club. Could even be the club camera. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he'll just put out a full hour.
Yeah.
But he's a storyteller, and it's hard for storytellers to get the same attention. Dave is exceptional because Dave had different platforms that allowed his storytelling to become bigger. And that's why I love Dave so much, because Dave has taken the genre to another dimension that I don't think that it was getting before. I think his way of combining comedy and storytelling is what to me makes Dave as great as he is. That's what made Pryor great. He took it to another level. Chappelle to another level. Sadiq, though, is a storyteller, and he's amazing at it.
Let me ask you this. When you go storytelling doesn't get, do you think that part of that, and I think part of it, is because like Cosby, he sits down, and Dave's Dave's one of the best storytellers, but Dave moves. Dave stands up. And I don't know any of this to be this is some scientific facts, but it's something to me about when you sit down, the audience becomes too comfortable. Not saying you can't be potently funny, but when you're in such a relaxed posture as sitting down, I think the audience mentally sits down.
I think it's hard to listen to someone maybe that you don't know, that you're not, again, with Dave, there's reverence for Dave, so you listen.
Yeah.
Even if it's a long story.
Right.
You listen. And Dave talked about, having issues with the audience listening to him throughout the whole thing, because a lot of times a comedy audience wants jokes. They want some rapid. There's comics that do you remember how many jokes it's supposed to be per second? Like every 11 seconds.
LPMs?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But see, that's science.
Yeah. That's the science of it. But there is something to that. That's why they were able to come up with this. And Dave threw that out the window. I think, though, when you don't know the person, you're not as intent on listening to them. You want to be entertained. You don't want to have to listen to someone. You want to be entertained. And I know that there's a difference between listening and entertainment. But you want those big jokes. You want those big laughs. You want to get that. So I think the audience sometimes isn't in tune yet. And I think he's somebody that I think that people who are storytellers, people who have a story like that, you're a slower burn. You're gonna continue to build an audience, but it's gonna become a stronger and stronger audience. And I think Sadiq gets that audience.
You know, from time to time when I'm on stage, I'll sit down, but no sooner than I sit down, I get up. Because I would like to be able to sometimes in my mind just sit there. But my instinct, my flex, my reflex is I gotta go left, I gotta walk right a little bit, I gotta put my elbow on the mic stand, I gotta lean against the wall. I can't be stagnant like that. It just feels uncomfortable to me.
I think though when you do sit down, it's kind of cool because you're such an aggressive person, and your comedy's aggressive.
Yeah.
So when you sit down, it's like, oh, he's gonna say something. It's like it's like a different kind of page that's being turned. So I think you really get their attention when you sit down, though.
I'm like an aggressive dog that when I stop, it's to take a shit. Can you hand me my water?
Who's this guy gonna shit on right now?
I like what you've been doing here in Arlington. I like that because you get them bang 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 the whole, and then it turns it down. And, it gets real. It's almost like you get to see the real Aries.
Well, you see in the real Aries from the moment I touch the mic, pull the mic out of the stand.
But the different aspect to you.
Yeah. I'm gonna refer to this as we go along, and I made no bones about this. I don't lie about this, and to some degree, I don't want to fall into the trap of doing it where it becomes overtly obvious. But when I tell you this, Dave inspires the shit out of me, and this is even more reason that I hate that Patrice is gone, because just to imagine where Patrice would be right now in terms of his point of view and his passion with what's going on today, that there are moments that when I'm doing stand-up, I go, yo, easy on how you deliver certain words, your cadence, because you almost might make people go, oh, this nigga's trying to be Chappelle. And it's just certain ways that Dave says things, and like when he'll deliver, and I know that you know this, there's certain Dave-isms, and again, there's a fine line between, he inspires me where I find myself kind of doing that, but I'm also in my head going, I hope I'm not so obvious with it that people in the crowd are going, this. And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know.
Thoughts, Andy?
I don't know. I think the comics would catch it more than...
Comics, you're right.
Will catch it more than others. I think it's a bad thing, to be honest. I think it's a bad thing. That's why I don't listen to a lot of comedy specials. I don't listen to a lot of people. I listen to Dave because Dave doesn't affect my voice, because I couldn't do a Dave. I couldn't do that. But there are other comics that I have felt affected me, so I don't listen to them. I can't, because I feel like...
And listen, I'm not even saying too much on the... When you go, Dave's voice doesn't... I'm not necessarily talking about some sort of mimicry, be it vocally or physically. I'm talking about the way this mind works.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So let me dive further in.
I do have some issues with this, though. I love
Well, I
Dave.
asked you last night, did you like it? And I said to you, I've never had, if you ask me, yo, did you like Dave's special? I've loved all his specials. I've never had a butt. I had a butt with this one.
I got a couple butts in here, but let's keep going. Yeah, but I love the special. You're not even close to the one I'm going to have. That's what's really funny about it.
Oh, yeah.
Am I allowed to play the special on the podcast, or should I not?
Like a snippet?
Yeah.
Yeah, snippet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't...
Like a little snippet?
Depends how many...
Because I was going to go to Netflix, but maybe that's
What did you want to play? How long?
Well, I'm just saying, if it comes up,
I would. The whole special?
No, obviously not the whole special. But if we played like a part of it, I wasn't sure if it would get copyrighted. Or anything.
I wouldn't do it because it's going to get demonetized.
I'm going to say this like I wrote it because I can't remember exactly what the thought was, so I have to say it like I wrote it. I said, dude, I have to say, when you see the magnitude of how Dave and Kevin fill arenas, and with that much energy that follows, and knowing they have the ability to match that, it almost makes, oh, okay, now I know where I was going. So yeah, when the special starts, and you see Dave coming out of the tunnel, the energy, the arena. The most people I've ever performed in front of was 5,000. And that was for when Tracy Morgan performed at the Madison Square Garden. It was me, him, and 2 other comics.
Snake-O?
I don't know. But 20, the roar. It's a game, an actual like basketball game. So to have 20,000 people roar and scream, and you gotta match that energy and like almost the theater in the round, that's so massive around you. There is no one place. You have to work the room. And then I said, it almost makes sense to me why Eddie Murphy is so hesitant about coming back to stand up. Yes, his star power and respectability would give him that same energy, even more so. It's Eddie Murphy. But with that long a layoff, plus the amount of pressure, think he could deliver?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
Wow.
No, because what is part of this? You take a week off. How do you feel? Okay. So you're taking a lifetime off now, and now you're going to go work some material. You're Eddie Murphy. How do you work out material?
You can work out material.
How can you work out material?
But let's play devil's advocate. Let's say he did what we said. He goes to small towns, unannounced, pops in, works it, gets it good. And part of me is like, not saying that Eddie was in a time capsule and he's dated, because funny is funny. But and to think that a guy of that magnitude in terms of star power would fold under any kind of pressure seems absurd. But he's in that moment. He's worked on material, that energy. And now it ain't like the days when it was like, again, 60s, you had Gregory, 70s, Richard Pryor, Eddie, one nigga per decade. We've been exposed to the best of the best now. Chappelle, Rock, Epps, Burr. We could name names and names and names and names. So no matter how big you are as Eddie Murphy, the legend, you got to follow these guys now. So you know what I'm saying?
I think he only has to do, I mean, if I was him, I wouldn't if it wasn't great, I wouldn't put out a special. But I would buy theater tickets to see Eddie Murphy, and if he did, I'd be happy.
We're not talking about theater, we're talking about arena. Which he would sell out like that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to do an arena just...
I'm just saying, if you threw him right in the fire, could he? You think he could?
If he worked at it,
bring out the puppets.
Maybe 10 minutes of puppets.
It's no
for you.
No, and it's not because I don't think he's great, but when you have a legacy like that, and you want to come back, you have to go work small rooms, like you just said. And you have all these other people that have a body of work now that have come out after you. We have a mentality now in this social media mentality where everybody that is 20 years old thinks that they know everything, and everything that they know is the greatest. Yeah. And he comes up there, they're going to be like, he's going to go work out some new material, and they're going to be, he ain't that good. How do you think you get that's not going to do well for an Eddie Murphy? Eddie Murphy doesn't want to not do well.
He's got to kill.
So I don't think that he could come back and start with new material in small rooms, listening to people go,
do the laugh.
Am I wrong?
I want to lean towards you're right, but you got to reserve that space in your head for It's Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, because he did it at 18. He did it better than anyone else.
And he's been doing it for 40 years, not stand-up.
But stand-up is
But he's still got that muscle called funny.
Yeah, but you know, this is the funny thing that you just said, because I love when you said the muscle called funny. Jordan came back, and he had baseball muscles. And he talked about that. Had I had enough time to get my basketball muscles back.
Right.
He has his funny acting muscles.
Stand-up muscles.
That's a different muscle. And he hasn't used it in how many years now? So it's an atrophy.
What's an atrophy?
It shrinks. It becomes...
This guy, but won't be able to remember a word like soup.
Yeah.
It's just because he goes to so many doctor visits. That's what he has. You know, Chris Rock. Like, what do you think about Chris Rock though? Because seems to take breaks,
but Chris
he always comes back.
Yeah, Chris stays in the gym though.
Yeah, and he does it differently though too. When you go watch Chris working new material, he doesn't have any Chris Rockisms. He doesn't work on Chris. It's not the Chris Rock
Once
voice.
it's polished and ready for camera, this Chris Rock isms. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
But when he's working his new set, he doesn't put any of that. It has to win before it becomes Chris.
Chris Rock, look at my hands. They look like they got mangled in a machinery press.
That should be the puppet.
The hand?
The puppet has the hands.
That's hilarious.
I listen, by no means what I just said do I not think that Eddie Murphy is one of the greatest ever to have done it.
Right.
Do I think that he's still a great person, a great comedic icon? Do I think that if the world was fair and he was allowed to go work out his material without people interfering or audiences being a problem, just
Right.
looking at him as as a comic working new material, I think yes. But I don't think that's how this world works anymore.
Well, you got to understand, though, comedy audiences, obviously, you put your name on the billboard, you're going to draw the people that want to see you. But if you pop in, a lot of those people younger than me they know Eddie Murphy, but they didn't even grow up watching The Nutty Professor or anything.
Yeah, but if Eddie Murphy decided to come back to stand up, the demographic is going to be our age range mostly.
Well, not if he pops in, goes to a Comedy Cellar or something.
Yep. But then he has to go there, and all the other people that are at that cellar, that are at the cellar or at the store, he has to perform. And if he doesn't hit those marks, the people that don't know him, and that's the first thing I said when you said, you got to understand comedy, Andy.
But do you think he gives a fuck about that? To the
Yeah,
people that
he
don't
does.
Know him?
Yeah, he does. I think he does. I think that legacy that he has, he could open the book up and attempt to reinsert himself into the comedy thing and expand his legacy, or he can protect his legacy. Because he's talked about doing it, and if he really wanted to do it, that was 5 years ago, he would have done it.
Here's the other thing that makes me nervous, and I know this is supposed to be about Dave, but it's all within the realm of comedy. Like Eddie, how he changed his laugh. He said in an interview, back then in the 80s, when he goes, the way he threw around the word fag, he goes, if I had to do it again, I wouldn't do that now. See that? You Eddie, you come on now. If you're gonna come back, Eddie.
No,
I'm not saying put on a leather one piece, because you ain't gonna do that. And that you would look ridiculous at over 60 wearing a tight leather outfit. Not to San Francisco. But I'm just saying, don't pull back on the animal that was Eddie. Don't come on the stage with thoughts of, it's 2025 and political correctness and wokeness and, sensitivity. Don't do that.
But see, how can you not do that? Because if you go online and read it, then that's going to affect you too. I'm telling you, this isn't when you've been out that long and to come back and have to deal with not that it's harder, it's just different. And you didn't come up in this. It's going to be different, and it would affect him.
My coca stays the same. Not stepped on, no baking soda. The product is the product. Blue Magic. And they know that more than they know the chairman of General Mills. I'm not changing the Blue Magic. All right. Do Real Time with Bill Maher returns January 23rd. I can't wait to see if Maher has the balls to address it.
No, sure it will.
You don't just automatically assume that.
You know, I thought it was hilarious. I never said this publicly, but that guy. I love that. I love the way he said it.
Oh.
But Bill Maher never really criticized him for going to Saudi Arabia.
No.
It was just that thing he said about the free speech thing.
He, at that particular episode, he and Louis C.K. sat and talked about it. And where Dave was coming from, and when he specifically used the words, that smug. Well, and Bill Maher has smug. That smug when he goes, there's things I could say in the Middle East that I can't say here. And both Louis C.K. went, well, that's not true. And then Bill Maher went, absolutely not true. And the smug.
Well, at least he did kind of, he goes, there was an understanding where Dave said something about, listen, I know not everyone there can say the things I can say. So he did kind of address that part. I mean, small, right? Didn't he?
This is where I have an issue.
This is one of your butts?
This is one of my butts.
Uh-oh.
Well, you know, to say that guy is not Dave. Dave is smarter than that. And you could do that guy. Yeah, that's the quick Dave. That's the quick Dave. That guy. That's the quick Dave. That's funny. But Dave is also should have got, if he wanted to make the point, should have made the point.
But I think he absolutely made the point.
More specifically to what he said that made him say that guy.
Well, Dave was clearly bothered by it.
Yeah, but he should have said exactly. Dave has a way to articulate things in a way that would have really made it.
That would have been another 20 minutes.
I'm not gonna tell somebody how to handle a motherfucker that break in their house. Well, how you handle it when they break in your house is on you.
Okay, because I disagree with Dave completely. I don't think that he can say things there. He got permission to say things there because the king basically gave him the right. He says it. The king, I was agreed. I'm agreed, and I can say these things.
But within the context of what he was talking about, I think you're misinterpreting it. When he said, he even made jokes about the fact that he could trash transgenders there all day long.
Yeah, no.
And there's no cancellation. Whereas here, he can't really do that.
No, there's no government that's going to come after him.
No, but the whoever the cancel people are.
Yep. And that's the best part. Whoever the cancel people are. So who's canceling him? And then the other part of that is, wait, before you get to that, Netflix stood up for him, and they told the cancel people, get the out the room.
Well,
so what is Dave complaining about?
They stood up for him because he's a big cash cow for them. If anybody lesser than Dave might not have been able to get away with that.
It doesn't make a difference. Dave was the one, and he was able to. So, and Dave is the one who said, I can't say. So I have to say this to Dave. Dave. Because Dave.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. Because he proved that he could do it, and he turned it around. And if I was Netflix, I would be like, I stood by you. What do you mean you can't say this?
No, I don't know. We might agree to disagree, but I think you're misinterpreting what he meant.
You're saying he's like playing the victim too much?
There's a little bit of it because he's saying, I can't say what I want to say in America, but I can say it in Saudi Arabia.
No.
Yeah, that's what he did. It's exactly what he said.
Okay, listen, technically, he said it all here, too. So he did say it,
yeah.
And he could say it. But he also said, which alludes to what he said later in the special, my voice is becoming so powerful. Now, this is where my butt is.
And this is where this plays into my butt, too.
Okay. I'm gonna save it till we get to that because I don't want to rush it. But when he said that, I went, and I'm only saying that in my head more as a question than I totally disagree. Which when we get to that, I'm gonna ask you my question. But yeah, so listen, and I've said on many a podcast, if there is this fight to be had, if there is this march to be led for comedians and creatives to tell cancer culture, you guys, This is what we do, freedom of speech. This is our platform. If we are going to get you to leave us the alone, then this fight has to happen as a conglomerate. And we need a leader to lead the charge. And I can't think of anybody better than Dave. Why? Because Dave stood on everything he believed in with his transgender jokes. Again, one of my favorite specials, Closer. An entire hour of one topic, which is an explosive topic, transgenders. And it was brilliant. So if a guy like Dave is leading the march, followed by the Bill Burrs and the Whitney Cummings and all the other prominent names in stand-up.
Whitney Cummings.
Back off. Don't try to make a point now. It'd be funny. If we are to win this fight, it's going to take all of us. Because if we keep just going, cancel culture, whatever, hope I dodge it, hope it doesn't get me, then they're going to continue to win. But if we, like the people that pay to see us, are tired of it. We're tired of it. Nobody's saying let's trample on the respect of people's human decency. Nobody's saying that. But enough is enough. These are jokes. Let's separate jokes from reality. And there were certain moments in this where Dave alluded to that with the Saudi Arabia thing that I saw his point.
I get seeing his point, but the point is, I don't want to stray too far into where you want to go. But Dave said, I have a powerful voice. It's become more powerful than I even had intended. Is that what he said? Or how?
To some degree, yeah.
Okay. So be careful with what you're saying, because now you say you can't say the same things in America, which you obviously did. And then Bill Maher said, that's not true. And then you said, that guy. How can I take you seriously, Dave, at that moment right there, in that moment, as a comic? Not as the general public. Maybe as a general public, I hear your rallying cry. But as a comic, I'm looking up to you. You've done it. You stood up. You got the backing. You have the power. And then you just said, I can't do this in America. Now what did you just say? I didn't understand. Wait, explain it to me. Let me see it again, because I don't understand. Replay it, because I don't understand.
Now, let me just re-jog your memory a little bit. So there's this incident which caused Dave to say that guy. There was the incident where Bill Maher made the joke on his show where he goes, oh, please, I'm a house. To which Ice Cube responded, and he had Ice Cube on, and they both went at it. And he said, hey, man, we can agree to disagree, but you don't get to use that word. Then there was the moment where on his podcast, Bill Maher had Bill Burr. And Bill Burr jokingly with him for how smug he is. So there's a thing here with Bill Maher where he's higher than thou. I'm the smartest guy in the room. I can say whatever I want. I'm right. Smug, 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 smug.
And I agree with what you're saying. But that's when I said Dave is better than that. Then take his smugness and take it over a step. But don't say what's not true.
Okay, but in that instant, that guy, if that pushed you to the point where that's your response, I'm not mad at you.
Then Bill's smugness won.
I don't believe that.
It was such a small little thing that
my voice has more power than I ever imagined.
That you shouldn't say.
Okay, well, but you can't put those two together. You can't say something that's not true and say that your voice has more power than you could ever imagine. Because if you can't have both,
what?
If you have a powerful voice, then you can only speak the truth. If you lie, I'm going to call you out for it then.
Let's put a pin in that, because I really do want to get to that, but I don't want to jump ahead on that yet.
Go on.
But since we're on the topic
Dave came at Andy's boy, is that it?
No, we're going to get to that.
Since we're talking about the Saudi Arabia thing, let me say this, and this is part of what inspired me by watching this. And I know you haven't seen it because you've been, at that point when I'm doing it.
I saw it.
Yeah. So long story short, I said this thing where I basically talk about, like Dave, I too performed in Saudi Arabia, and like Dave, I, like all the other comics, caught the flack from the people, blood money, blood money. And as I'm saying on stage, and I'm say here, this combination between white arrogance and white hypocrisy is astounding to me. Because while I'm hearing about you going over there to get this blood money, and I preface it by saying, I'm an American, proud to be, will die an American, greatest country in the world. And then I also say, to my white fan base who I don't want to alienate, but I have to tell the truth, and often truth offends. You guys' arrogance and your hypocrisy, stop it. Because in my 36-year tenure in stand-up, 95% of the money that goes in my pocket is American money. And again, exceptions to the rule. Africa twice, Europe twice, about to be third time, Middle East. But my currency has been American. When the is American currency didn't have blood on it? 400 years of free labor off the bloody backs of my people. At one point, I even looked it up. I think it was around 1805. Slavery was 60% of this country's economy. That's blood money. The American prison system, often black people have served harsher sentences, longer times than their white counterparts for committing the same crimes. And the American prison system is big business. So stop it with the blood on the hands to me, because for the last 36 years, I've taken nothing but blood money.
Well, first of all, that joke that you do, I thought it was very provoking. It's very thought-provoking joke.
Yeah.
I did, and I thought it was good. But I have a hot take. How's that sound?
Get him.
This guy, man. Why are you trying to provoke shit?
Yeah. Well, one of the things is though that I would first of all, I said I think you should do it. I thought you should go to Saudi Arabia. The blood money part, the couple parts with this though. I looked at your feed when you. I don't read social media that often, but when you did and you said that you got a bunch of criticism about this Saudi Arabia and the blood money, it wasn't white people that were. It wasn't just white people that were saying that to you.
Well, I mean, it's never. Nothing is ever just one.
It was a lot of black people that were saying it to you, and the reason is Aries. The reason is because for the reason you just said is that 400 years of oppression, slavery, what you have, and this is a country though. That when you use a hot take like what you just did, saying blood money and because of slavery, but you're performing in a country which still has slavery.
Well, they call it the American prison system now.
No, but the country there has slavery.
What do you mean the country there?
Saudi Arabia has slavery.
Okay.
They have enslaved people working for them. So that's just the reason why some people would say, black or white would say that about them. About that's what I'm just saying. When you
okay, let me just say this though.
You're conflating those two.
But let me
really
just
close.
say this: the same people that might complain about what's happening in Saudi Arabia don't do too much to change the racism here.
This is where I think the thought kind of just generalizes white people, and you said that it was a mix of people in the comments or whatever. The people that went, oh, that's blood money and shit like that, are probably liberal, and they're probably the same people who complain to other white people for not acknowledging slavery more and shit like that. So I don't think it's the conservative people that
it's
are
not
like
the conservative people.
blood money, blah blah. It's the liberals who are on your side.
So, no, what I'm just trying to explain to Aries is what conflating those are and why what those people are saying. That's why they're saying it. Because
okay, well, you know what? If you're that goddamn passionate about what's going on over there, get a plane ticket, pack your go live there for 8 months and see if you can change it.
Well, I think what you did and what all the comedians that went there did, and bringing, you could say however good or bad that you want to talk about America, but more freedom, more opportunity here than I hate to even say it that way. Let's just say that there's a little bit more freedom to move about here in America than there is in Saudi Arabia, and I think that you guys brought some of that freedom, an American version of it, to Saudi Arabia. For me, it's just, and again, don't want to seem like we're getting off topic, but this still is within the topic of what we're talking about. It just brings to mind that Farrakhan, Mike Wallace interview when he says, how dare America? So I just listen, you could feel how you want all the blood money and they got slavery, but sit this one out. America's not clean by any means. No.
So sit this one out.
But I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to. I'm explaining to you what's going on your feed.
So it's not technically slavery, but it's like very low wage, mostly migrant workers, where they just live in bad conditions and like that.
And they can't leave.
I'm guessing it's hard for them to leave.
Who's the Middle Eastern Chaz Palminteri over there that locks the door and goes, "You couldn't leave. No, you couldn't leave." I thought two funny ass jokes, or the funny joke when Dave did the thing about the Falcon, and he said the Falcon got the mask on. He goes, "Oh, this can't enjoy the show." And when he takes the mask off, the Falcon goes in the air, shoots down 200 miles an hour, and kills a woman. It was a transgender woman, because when it happened, her popped out. Man, this is why this can give you the educational, intellectual, which I thought was brilliant when he did the whole Jack Johnson thing.
That was really brilliant.
He can give you the intellectual filet mignon 5-star restaurant exotic meal, and then he can give you the greasy cheeseburger in a brown paper bag with fries with raw shit, and then the popped out. Oh God, that combination of being able to do both is one of the reasons why, to me, I think he's one of the most revered comedians on the planet. Because some guys could either give you one or the other. The fact that he's bilingual comedically, that's a gift. That's a gift.
Him and Louis C.K.
And again, I said, I slept on Louis. Dave's punches a little harder.
He does the same thing.
No,
where they just go goofy with it and just give you the jokes.
No, Dave's sharper to me. He's sharper than Louis C.K. to me.
I'm saying they do the same thing.
How can they do the same thing as one?
Because they both give you the substance to something.
Young boy, quit talking for a second. How can they both give you the same thing if one is sharper than the other? It's not the same thing.
Louis is tighter for sure.
Tighter in what sense?
Like, you'll laugh more at a Louis show now.
He's probably right, because Dave doesn't care about the laughs right now. Dave said it. Dave is about being interesting and finding the funny along the way.
That Falcon callback
is genius.
Yeah.
I think I thought it was genius. My critique on him is where I gave it to you, but I want to keep.
But let me go back now, because I'm just looking at my note. So when he brings up the point about Saudi Arabia, and he brought up the point where he goes, Israel just killed over 200 journalists. Didn't know we were still counting.
Bada bang.
Wow.
Okay, powerful voice again.
But is he wrong?
Yep. Now, he's not wrong, but when you say journalist,
okay.
I mean, it's the same thing the UN's using, same thing Mark's going to use right now. If you have a phone and social media and you get a credential that says you're a journalist, so now you're a journalist, even though you're going to go in the middle of a war zone, told not to go there and get blown up, but now you count as a journalist. If you're holding the camera, you're
journalists are always in war zones.
Yeah, but you're also told where to go and where not to go. Is that not true?
There's been plenty of bomb strikes.
Yes.
On places that they said were safe zones.
I'm not
like
minimizing the fact that there's been a lot of journalists that have actually been killed.
So you're saying all the journalists were in the wrong place?
Listen, I don't know much of what you guys are talking. I don't know. Listen, I don't know what much of what you guys are talking about. But based on what you're talking about, let me ask you this, and then you tell me. So whether they're journalists or not, when he's saying that while the Middle East was catching for killing this one particular journalist, there were this many journalists that Israel killed. So what game are we playing?
That journalist wasn't in a war zone. He was actually called from the comfort of his house to come meet the king or to come have a interview at the palace, and then woke up dead.
Okay.
Starting to rethink that trip. I'm just kidding.
No. Listen, is that where they were then, and are they changing now? Yes. So, am I going to put this on the on Saudi Arabia too the same way? No. Does Israel need to do a better job of not killing journalists that are actually covering it? Yes. But do we have to admit that a lot of the journalists are part of Hamas or not? Because Hamas is part of Palestine. And then, when we get into Dave and saying what he wants to say, and he can say what he wants to do, yeah, you can. And his feelings on Israel are fine, but he can't raise a Palestinian flag in Saudi Arabia. He can't wear a Palestinian pin in Saudi Arabia. You know where you can do that, though?
America.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're saying they're members of Hamas?
There are members of Hamas that are also linked to Hamas that are also journalists. Why wouldn't there be?
I'm not seeing that.
Oh my God.
But what do you read that says they're part of Hamas? Hamas journalists?
You don't think that they're just because you're a journalist doesn't mean that you're not part of another organization.
Let's
not get that.
Let's not bleed into this too much.
Just saying.
Because I know you two can go.
Terrorist journalism. That's scary.
Hamas is also. You don't know.
That means there's somebody who knows how to cite sources in MLA format and make a pipe
That's
bomb.
what, these two are like Ali and Frazier.
No, because he just says stupid
joke.
stuff though. It's not even.
But
a good joke.
I'm looking it up. You're saying so like
What-
Al
what-
Jazeera's Hamas.
No. Did I say that? Did those words come out of my mouth?
I just said, is Al Jazeera Hamas?
No. Do they support Hamas?
Well, I'm not seeing anything that says that, these are Hamas journalists.
Did I say they were all Hamas journalists? First of all, you just said Hamas terrorists, right? But then you'll also be the same asshole that says that Hamas isn't just a terrorist organization. It was part of their government, wasn't it? And wouldn't the government have journalists?
Like you said.
Oh my God! How we
scene.
put these little dots together and come up with nothing.
Israeli talking points.
when Dave, after he does the joke about the Falcon killing the transgender woman, and then he goes on, and listen, when you're hearing comedians, we do it all the time. I do it a lot, where you're listening to this going, this ain't true. This is obviously a joke, but you sell it like it's true while you're waiting for the big moment. So when this goes, and they had arrested me for committing a crime because that woman had died, and he goes, but then you might be saying, well, if you were convicted, Dave, what brings you here tonight? Turns out because she was a transgender in the Middle East, that's a misdemeanor. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Like this dude, this is why I go, this is why Dave's my cup of tea along with Patrice. It's like their comedic coke is laced with fentanyl. It's just potently powerful. And listen, man, I've said a million times, I don't deny the man's talent. The box office receipts don't lie. The turnstile receipts at the arenas don't lie. Despite how people may feel when I read these comments and go, a lot of people say, Kevin Hart ain't funny, Kevin Hart ain't funny. To the contrary, he's damn funny. I've said, I prefer Jamie Foxx in movies, particularly dramatically, over his stand-up. I prefer his music over his stand-up. I'm not saying Jamie's not funny. He just doesn't move me the way a Patrice did or a Dave does. And I've never watched a Kevin Hart special until now. I watched his most recent special. Mark, pull it up. What's it called? Kevin Hart's recent special. I watched his recent special, and I'm going to be honest, I snickered twice.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Did you hear what I just said? I snickered.
I only saw 15 minutes.
Twice. As talented as Kevin is comedically, he just don't have that punch to me.
Acting my age.
And listen, he's not going to be Dave and say controversial shit. He's not gonna mess up that Madison Avenue money, that Capri Sun, McDonald's, bring your family money. That's just not who he is. But I like that.
Because he wants to be like Mike.
Like Mike.
You didn't like his Michael Jordan joke?
It was all right. I thought
it was good.
You liked it?
I mean, it wasn't like a whole bit. It was just a little.
I mean, the overall, the special. You liked it?
I liked the 10 minutes I saw.
But yeah, man. And again, that Jack Johnson, the way he broke all that down. And I'm reading a lot of people now, especially with the special. I don't know who he pissed off on the white side of things. But there's a lot of white people who loved it. But man, Dave, he done fell off. He's preachy now. You know, he blah, 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 blah. I think people get bored with anything that lasts too long, no matter how good it is. There's got to be a moment where we kick the stool from under you. There's got to be a moment. You can't just be adored forever. And I think Dave's at that point, because I don't see it.
Well,
they didn't like his politics. That's why.
I think that, well, there's a lot to it right now. I think that Dave is in a place where he's changing comedy.
Yeah.
And when you're in a place that's changing comedy, change isn't easy for people. I don't know that they can actually see it. They don't understand it.
Yeah.
And I think that makes it difficult for people. I think that's why some of the complaining. I still want to get one more complaint in on Dave.
Oh, the snapping of the knee.
Dude, I just don't tell me when I'm supposed to laugh. I got it.
That's for him.
I know. I hate it. I just hate that. I hate those things, man. And that's just me. And I've said it before.
I'll tell you what bothers me more than the knee. I don't mind the knee thing. When he ends the night and flipping the mic.
I thought that was badass.
No, but I know, but that's like that. I destroyed so bad. Like, we know you destroyed.
We're here.
You're the GOAT. We here. You ain't gotta flip the mic and on the ground. And incidentally, Eddie Murphy was the first one to do that after Delirious.
But this is a great special. It is a great special.
It is.
I don't have any problems with it. I love the way he finished it. I loved every.
What was your favorite joke? Moment.
I don't have a favorite moment.
You don't?
Nope. I like the whole I think. Listen, he's a storyteller, and to me, if you don't get the story, then you didn't get the joke.
I had a goddamn Jesus Christ moment when he did the joke where he talked about Cassie testifying with piss in her mouth. I went, God damn.
That was really funny. That is one of the jokes that's in there, but it's but the story to me is more important. So, but that was pretty funny when he did that because he had me because he was being the Dave that was telling the truth, the seeker of truth, and then he throws that joke in there just to you up.
Right.
And so that was a really critical moment, and that's the moment that people need. I didn't need it. I was with him. So I get it though, but that was a really great moment though.
And see, again, this is kind of where I go. I think I have these small moments, and I want to be real tiptoey when I say moments, because to say moments is to suggest plural. Dave has plural. I might have a moment where I might say something to get you to, again, the Jack Johnson thing. It's like one of my favorite specials with him. I always said, Killing Him Softly is the classic, but equanimity. When he tells the story about Emmett Till at the end, goosebumps. You could hear a pin drop. When he did the thing about Jack Johnson, it was just like, and I think some people, that's what some of his critics mean.
Yeah.
Lengthy, boring.
It's not boring.
Preachy.
Listen.
I love it. It's beautiful artwork. It's, again, Miles Davis. There's a certain level of artistry that you gotta be able to appreciate. And some people don't have that ability.
You have moments, and you could have more moments. You could have long, sustained moments if you weren't afraid of the silence.
You know, this is the part that, and here's where I feel a little proud. When I did do the joke about the Saudi thing, and this happened every time I did it, and the first time it happened, I almost got a little choked up because I was like, holy shit, that's what I was looking for. And Mark just kind of made fun of it in that smug white way that white people do. But yeah, when I said the thing about the blacks, America having blood money on it, many people, I know that's right. Yes, ooh.
No, I felt it in the room when you said
you
it.
could feel that. And is that funny? No. But that with funny, to me, is the mwah. And Dave's a master at that.
Yeah.
I like your, you didn't say it on every time you did it, but one of the times at least, you're like, stop focusing on what black people do and focus on what you've done. It's like, that's
Thank you for reminding me of that. Because I only said it once. And I'm like, as they call in the vernacular, that's a gem, nigga. Yeah. That's a gem. I'm gonna write that down. Don't make me forget that. What did I say? Stop focusing on what black people.
Stop on what we do, on what black people do. Focus on what you've done.
Right. Damn, those words are important.
You should have charged him for writing that joke, being the co-writer of that joke.
Are you guys? You guys don't know the best bit in that special though was when he was talking about taking over his town. To me, that was the best.
That didn't really move me. Applaud. I don't know where the funny was in that.
What?
I applaud it. It's beautiful. I mean, yeah, I know some of the jokes he made about, yeah.
I think as a whole, the whole story is great. That's to me, he's accomplished what I was hoping. I was hoping more of, and he's doing it, and he's changing comedy, and I think we're witnessing that, and that's what's important to me, man.
So now let's get back to that part from earlier when he says, "My voice is becoming more powerful." I went, "Is it, or is this a little of your ego?" Like, let's be honest. Like, come on now. What voices that are powerful usually get assassinated. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Robert Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy. Something happens to them. They become martyrs. Nigga, at the end of the day, you're a comedian. This is jokes. You're not changing a nation. You're not freeing a people. You're not threatening a government.
Well, you're
not stopping money.
So you're using basically what he's not, how he just used that on Charlie Kirk not being today's Martin Luther King.
No, he's not.
Do you see? Is there any reason Dave would be assassinated? Is there any real reason the government would put tabs on this?
Well, probably not. But until it happens, you wouldn't have said the
Listen,
same thing about
creatively,
Charlie Kirk.
that's why I said when he ends it with the picture in the FBI classified folder, that plays great to all the intellectual you said. But come on, man. Come on, man.
But see that there's some short-sightedness on Dave and his voice and that when you said, because I wasn't going to bring up the Charlie Kirk part, but since you brought that up,
which we're good because we should have.
I disagree with Dave, and I wouldn't say that.
Is this another butt?
No, it's not another butt, but even because when you say you have a powerful voice, then you have to really think about what you're saying. If you said my voice has become more powerful, and you really believe that, then you have to. Then if you were a good person, or I hate to use the Spider-Man reference, with great power comes great responsibility. Then you have to be responsible for it. But to say, what he did, and it made me laugh because I was like, Dave, you missed your own point. He said he did the impression basically of Martin Luther King saying, "Tap that like button,
smash that like button."
I think black people should be free. Change my mind. That was hilarious.
But isn't that what he would be doing today? Martin Luther King? If there was a Martin Luther King today, how would you get your attention of the young people? How would you make a movement? Online?
Yeah, it's a different era.
But let's
true.
be clear. The joke is hit the like and subscribe. Martin wouldn't do that. He would use the platform, but he's not going to tell you, hit like and subscribe.
That's the hyperbole. That's part of the joke. But that is essentially what Martin Luther King would have to be doing today.
But the point he was making, which I've echoed this many times on the podcast, I think Dave might listen, is that Charlie
His voice
was
is becoming
doing
more powerful than he ever
Charlie
thought.
was, doing like rage bait and stuff. That's how people like watch these videos. It's what you kind of have to do if you're an influencer online. There are a lot of people put out videos, become popular for saying controversial things. I know we want to look at the context.
But when Dave goes to be these people, you have to be in the negative. You have to say negative shit. I don't believe that Charlie said what he said for the sake of I'm trying to get clicks by being negative. I believe he believed on what he said. He stood on it, 10 toes deep.
Well, but like how everything with Charlie Kirk is, well, what's the context? The videos he would put out wouldn't show the full context. It would just show, you would just get those little clips and stuff.
But is that him or somebody else doing that?
I mean, maybe it started with, he definitely has control of like what he puts out, especially like in the early days.
Well, at some point with social media, you have no control. Once you put it out there, anybody can take it and then clip it up.
No, I'm talking about the clips that he would put out on his own page.
Oh.
Like that. So yeah, you want to get like, start the video off with something that's edgy and controversial and might be quasi-racist, but...
See, no. There we go again. What can you define for me quasi-racist? Because I think you just did what you said that's what people do to get attention. Define quasi-racist so that I can understand.
In a certain context, what he said could be deemed racist. But whenever you're arguing with a conservative, they have to be like, well, you didn't see the full context. Like sometimes it makes it better, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it does. Did it make it better on Charlie Kirk's?
So you if you light the match, the fire's there.
No. That's you can't. See, this is what you do. This is a very liberal trick. Give me something that Charlie Kirk said that was racist, because you're very astute on it, and
we just go the black pilots thing.
Okay.
Because it's an uninformed argument. I don't want to dwell on this, but it's basically saying that they're putting black people that. They had to lower the qualifications.
That's not what.
That's the assumption you would make if they say, "Oh no, black pilot." And then it also assumes that a white person was just going to get that job, not an Asian person.
We're treading the same waters we've treaded before.
Yeah. But that's not what it said, and that's not what it is. So go back and read it. And when you go back and read that too, so we can go back and finish this, then why don't you look up since these things are oblivious to you, which is unbelievable to me. Why don't you look up Hamas journalist or journalist helping Hamas in the attacks on the 7th? Why don't you look that up so that you can get this thing out that you said, I'm typing and I can't find this thing that you're talking about, Andy. Why don't you go look that up? Because somehow...
On the 7th? Because I also looked up the journalist thing. There's...
Yeah,
if you would look it up, you wouldn't find much shit saying that these are all Hamas journalists.
I didn't say, again.
Hey, did Israel kill their own people on October 7th?
Yes, they did kill some people.
Like,
no.
10% of the people were killed by...
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Anyways.
Nope.
What'd you think about the ending?
Of this special?
Yeah. Not the flip, but the Israel.
He didn't say Israel.
Or I stand with Israel. That's,
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was genius.
Yeah.
But go on.
No.
It's nothing you haven't seen on Twitter, like people say on Twitter.
No, the way he said it was what was genius.
Just, without getting into a long tirade, I just want to know. So standing with Israel, good or bad?
I stand with Israel.
Okay. So somebody says I stand with Israel, that's a good thing.
No, but he said it in a way. What he was saying is I don't stand with Israel, but he said it in a different way.
Chappelle did?
Yeah. He said if I need to give you a code word of something that I would never say so that you know. How does he say it? Do you know how he said it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because Dave's Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
So he was being...
Yeah,
how Muslim is he? Is he real Muslim?
Yeah, he is a Muslim. But
what are there degrees to Muslimism?
Well, they're...
I don't eat pork, but I'll white.
If you blow yourself up, that's black belt Muslimism.
No, that's jihadism.
Okay.
Dude, you know what? I can't have a conversation with him because he is so like your level that you talk at and you want to portray that you know what you're talking about is scary to me because to say
I'm being sarcastic.
No, can't be sarcastic when we're talking about Muslims and then they're getting demeaned because there are jihadists that will do damage. Okay. And then you make it that way. I don't understand how you don't understand where there's comedy and it's funny and you are on a platform where you just said something. We're talking about it, a serious issue, and you go, yeah, these Muslims blow. That's the black belt of Muslimness. That is why somebody like a Ben Affleck goes off on a show and looks like a nut job because people say like you just did.
Do you know what irony is?
You don't sound like you know what irony is.
When Dave said in Eddie Murphy's doc, Eddie's had the best seats to life. Dave, so have you. Because when you see those black and white stills of the people he rubbed shoulders with, there's no question he's the artist that other artists want to be around.
Yeah, but when he was 14, all the way up until he was doing the Chappelle show, how good were those seats?
I mean,
they were good. I mean,
they were good.
He was getting offers, but nothing was hidden for him.
I think once he went to Africa, came back, and then put the Netflix specials out, that added to the legend of the Bigfoot. That's when he became Bigfoot. I mean, yeah, at the time, young, and I always said on many podcasts, Dave was a prior to the Chappelle show, Dave was like a boutique comic. Real hardcore comedy fans knew who he was. Black people weren't really up on him the way they are now until Chappelle show. After Chappelle show, everybody was on Dave's. And then again, having gone to Africa and the stories that created some mystique. The fact that he didn't oversaturate himself like most entertainers do. You only saw him. Dave was so rare to be seen that a Dave Chappelle sighting was like seeing Bigfoot. And that adds to your legend.
So what do you think about those years in between? He leaves the Chappelle show, goes to Africa, and then doesn't work for a while.
Adds to your legend, your mystique.
But what about those? He's paying his bills during those times. How's that working out for Dave?
I mean, I don't think he had a problem paying his bills. Live in buttfuck Ohio, where the rent is $9.
As Mark said, he bought Ohio.
That's after the legend grew.
Yeah.
And the money came. But I'm just saying, like, I look at those black and whites and I just go, wow, that just, you're the guy. You're the guy.
So what's your order? Eddie Murphy, Chappelle, Pryor, and Patrice. What's your order?
That's hard because if you're talking movies, Eddie's number one. If you're talking stand-up, you're not giving Eddie stand-up number one. He only had 2 goddamn specials. Movies-wise, Eddie Murphy, and then really, Patrice wasn't a movie star of any kind. Neither is Dave. Pryor, I would have to go Eddie, Pryor. To me, I can't put movies with Patrice and Dave.
Okay, just stand up then.
Stand up.
On what's best or what's the?
No, just overall.
Mount Rushmore, but in order.
Stand up. Dave, Patrice, Pryor, Eddie. Even though, again, I'm respect to the Almighty Richard Pryor. He's the Almighty. But his stand-up to me fit a time. Well, so did Eddie's, because Eddie's was very 82.
Yeah, but can you have Eddie if you don't? That's what I always go by. Can you have Eddie if you don't have Pryor?
Without Pryor?
Yeah.
No.
So then I have to go Pryor.
Yeah.
Pryor's always going to be my number one. I got to be honest. Pryor's my number one. Everybody throw them all in the ring. Let them fight it out for number 2 and 3, 4. I can't.
Right.
It's. I don't believe it exists. I think that there's other people that are missing from the list that brought us to Pryor that I think deserve some accolades as well.
Like Red Fox and Gregory?
Red Fox, Gregory, Moms Mabley, Lenny Bruce, because Lenny Bruce went to jail for everyone too, so that you could do what you could do. I think they all are a component to building what Pryor was able to do. But if you don't get to Pryor, this art form isn't this art form.
Yeah.
I mean, Gregory really did. He deserves a huge amount for this as well, though.
So overall, scale 1 to 10, the Unstoppable is a
1 to 10. And I think it's a 4.
What?
A 4?
That's not good.
1 to 10. I was going 1 to 5 in my head. I'm sorry. An 8 or 9. 9.
Oh, okay.
8 or
Jesus.
9. 8 or 9. I was doing 1 to 5. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm on my own head.
Whew, scared the shit out of me. I thought dementia was happening. For me, a strong ass 7.
You know what? I'm gonna stick with my 8 because I'm gonna tell you, I thought it was the best storytelling that he's done, like in storytelling.
Man, that equanimity is the.
This really had. I really felt like he sprinkled the jokes in where they were needed, to move the story on, keep the people entertained. Had the callback to the Falcon, the little bits in there about, like you said, owning the town, everything that comes with all these little stories, and then weaving them together. The callback, it's really good.
I don't know how much of this plays into it, but prior to this special, all of Dave's other specials were done like in, I guess, theaters. This was an arena. I think there's something more potently powerful about keeping it a little more contained and intimate versus you got to play to this big space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, because if you're storytelling, it does work better in an intimate crowd, I think.
Right.
Because you have the people in. Here's you want my last complaint though, or do you?
No, absolutely.
To the Israel part. And he didn't say Israel. He said I stand with Israel, which meant Israel. I want to know. You said something.
I'm still confused by that. If he said I'm stand with Israel,
he said because I'm going to give you a code word, something that I would never say, so that I didn't say it. Because I stand with Israel means I don't stand with Israel. Yeah,
I didn't pick that up at all.
Okay, so here's my thing with Dave. Dave is a very powerful voice. We're getting back to the powerful voice.
My voice is very powerful.
Then say it. Don't just dance around it. Don't just talk about the journalist. Say what you mean. Because, listen, you said Dave is a Muslim. Mm-hmm. Well, so are all the people that, so are the 2 million Muslims that live in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard anything about that. I want to know, give me the 2 million Muslims that live in Israel?
Yeah, what about it?
They also live there.
And incidentally, Dave jumped on DJ Khaled because he's Muslim, and he's like, dude.
I think he's Palestinian specifically.
Yeah, Palestinian.
Is that not?
Yeah, it's Palestinian. They're not all Palestinians are Muslim.
All right, well then let me
some
back
of them are Christians, but yeah, he was talking about.
Oh, okay.
He was talking about him specifically being a Muslim from Palestine.
And incidentally, I love that, and especially when Dave made the point, it's okay to say I don't know.
Oh, that was
because
good.
too many people, conspiracy theories, they act like they know. It's okay to say I don't know. That's why when you guys go back and forth on some of this politically, I'm out because I don't know. It's not my thing.
I'm going to go out on him from now on too, though, because seriously, I don't think that this is a place to have a serious conversation. I really don't.
You don't?
I do, but I don't. Mark plays both sides. Like, he plays this edge.
Whoa, Mr. Both Sides.
No. He plays this edge
Hey.
where he's a comedian and then he's telling the truth. And then he says, but it's irony. but you don't know where. I don't think that it comes off that way, and I don't want to. Like. I really seriously. I have Muslim people that are Muslim in my life that I'm concerned for, care about, and I would never want to conflate the idea. Like seriously, I mean it too. Of a jihadist versus what a Muslim is, and that's it's more personal than that. And maybe I'm just older, and maybe I'm more crotchety, but I really don't. I take it more seriously than that because it is a problem. No, so go ahead and say what you need to say about it, because I didn't catch that it was funny. I didn't catch the irony.
Well, I guess that's my fault then.
No, I mean I'm being serious though. But don't you? Do you owe something to a general population that's being?
You're being all apathetic and sympathetic right now.
No.
You're trying to.
No, I'm not being apathetic. I'm really asking you a question because I think
how many times have we talked about kids die and you go, well, that's what happens in war. Now you're trying to play this card where we got to be serious. And shit.
No. I'll say it this way: it happens that kids do die in war. Do I want any kids to die in the war? No, I don't want any kids to die. Do I want anyone to die? No. But if we're going to have a war, what's going to happen? There's a difference, and I don't think that you know how to talk about the difference without leading into either being funny and then serious at the same time, and that doesn't.
So I am funny.
I said trying to be funny. I should have said. I apologize if I gave you too much credit. It's hard. It's hard, and it's a balance.
I looked up your claim on October 7th, journalist. I couldn't find anything.
Well, I'll find it for you afterwards because it's been all over all the
only
media.
Israeli sources, no international sources.
I'll give you international. I'll give you the video.
Yeah, there's videos, but when you look into it, it's not necessarily like they're either covering it, but it's not. It doesn't mean that they were in charge. Still, I don't know.
They were shooting guns with their press vest on.
I'm live from the Gaza Strip. Pow, pow,
they
pow.
weren't covering. They were shooting.
Okay.
When you talk though, and there's so much evidence, and
what high level and what evidence? It's been on
CNN. You have. I don't know how conveniently you are like this guy who only sees like the things that he wants to see. You don't.
I'm looking it up. I'm just trying to look it up,
dude. It's been out there for years since it started, since the war started.
That the journalists were taking over, and that's the.
They have them out there with the guns, fighting, killing people.
But that still doesn't really knock the claim that Dave brought up in the special of all the journalists died. You're trying to make it act like all these journalists that died were Hamas tied.
That's not. I said 3 times, not all. I said some. I said some of them, and I said it's obvious that it's going to be that way. But I'm not going to get into this whole.
Well, the numbers are important because those are innocent people that were killed.
Okay, what's the number?
Of how many were innocent?
Yeah, how many are the innocent people that were killed?
Let's see.
See, this is what I mean. He's going to go look, and he's going to go try to find a number of the innocent people being killed. And then show me where it says the innocent people were killed.
So it says,
I know.
Overwhelming. I know Dave said past 3 months. I'm not sure what it is, but it says 180 to 250 plus journalists killed.
It was 2. I think
no major press freedom organization supports the view that these journalists as a group are part of Hamas. Isolated cases of past or loose ties may exist, but they do not represent the broader toll, and evidence for active membership. Combat roles remain contested and unproven in independent investigations. So I read that, and I mean, I know that's just takes a bunch of sources and looks at it and combines it together. But what are you looking at?
So can you just tell me what you just read? Can you tell me what the number of innocent people were? The innocent journalists. So they were all innocent journalists?
So this, of course, it's not going to be like if there's 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 20, maybe that's the case. But the majority of them, they don't have any evidence to show that they're Hamas linked.
They don't have any evidence.
You're just saying because they're Palestinian that they're tied to Hamas.
I didn't even say Palestinian. Jesus Christ.
We're creeping up
but
part 2.
These are the Palestinians. But yeah, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. Like I said, I give it a strong 7.
I give it an 8. I love the storytelling.
Yeah.
I think Dave is great in this. I think that he has a strong, powerful voice, and he needs to...
My voice is becoming more powerful than I imagined.
He's the only person who could get away with saying that, though. Nobody else could.
That just felt egotistical to me.
A little bit, but he is one guy who can. I mean, it's what we all think.
I don't think that it was egotistical. I think it was heavy.
Heavy.
I think he feels the heaviness of his voice. I think that he's held to accountability now. I think that he wears it's heavy. He who wears the crown is the.
Even that's egotistical.
It
so
is.
So you're the self-proclaimed king?
I didn't say that he said that.
No, he's said that. And equanimity. I'm what some would refer to as the GOAT.
Well, he's heard it be referred to.
I've heard it too.
So if he's,
but I'm not.
Okay, but I'm just saying. I think he feels the heaviness of it, and I'm calling him out by saying, if you feel the heaviness of it, then understand your voice is powerful and use your words.
Incidentally, here at the hotel last night, again, more testament to how these videos are bananas. Again, between Mark Stuff and Vlad, these two YNs. You know they call them YNs now? I didn't know that. You know what YN is?
I don't think we can say it, can we?
Young. So they refer to young black men now as YNs. I didn't know that. That's more this, young generational vernacular. So a couple of YNs were in the lobby last night. And then one guy goes, yo, that's Aries Spears. And this man looked, and they both came up, and they was incidentally waiting on some weed to be dropped off, so they were in their pajamas.
Dude, when you set that up, it's even the picture was painted more glorious than it was before.
Yeah. The guy goes over and he goes, yo, can I get a picture? I was like, yeah. He goes, yo, this the dude that said, this nigga's a homosexual, when I was talking about Vlad. So, yeah, man. The GOAT. What are we calling this?
The GOAT?
The GOAT.
No, I think we already used that one. Powerful voice?
The Unstoppable something.
Just Chappelle, right?
You should like Chappelle review or something. That'd be
so it gets more traction. Unstoppable, just unstoppable. Unstoppable Chappelle
review.
Unstoppable review. No? Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Oh, that's not bad. Unstoppable review.
Yeah. That really affects the algorithm.
Yeah, I think typing in the YouTube and shit.
I think Chappelle's more important in it than Unstoppable.
Yeah, I do agree. I agree. Chappelle review.
Okay.
Because you get two strong words in there, the Chappelle and then the review, right?
You get two great tastes that taste great together.
That's felt like, what kind of commercial is that?
That's
a gum commercial or a soda?
It's a Reese's peanut butter cup commercial.
Is it really?
Two great tastes that taste great together. You got chocolate in my peanut butter. No, you got peanut butter in my chocolate.
That sounds sexual.
It's the commercial.
My dick and your booty and your booty on my two great feelings that feel great together.
Yeah. Not going with you on that one.
All right, dates?
Well, this podcast is going to come out in 4 months because it's 8 hours long.
It's an hour and a half.
I know. Just around.
But, at least 20 minutes of that was,
Me
Ali and Frazier.
It's just, you can't say, okay, here's what it is. You can't say something provocative and then try to throw a joke on top of it and expect it to land.
Dave does it all the time.
He's not Dave.
Dave has echoed all my talking points on this podcast. I didn't make him funny, but I had the substance.
No, you haven't.
I said Charlie Kirk was a rage baiter. Brought up journalists. Feels good being vindicated by the great.
I don't know that Charlie Kirk was a rage baiter.
He wasn't.
Somebody that's a rage baiter is doing it on purpose. He believed in what he believed in. Now, if that causes you to be rageous, that's on you.
Yeah, but you know, like when you watch certain things and you see those, the parts that can quote unquote be taken out of context, that's the shit he would post.
Listen, if you want to call it window dressing, whatever it took to get you in the store, you got to do. But once you get in the store, that's a different story.
The problem is that
here's the problem.
Other influencers who are much worse, where they have these horrific takes that are just flat out racist.
I'll tell you.
They have rose to prominence.
I'll tell you who's a rage baiter, who, to me, is a Charlie Kirk wannabe. At least with Charlie, he had valid intellectual points. But this guy, Myron Gaines.
Yeah, sure.
He just feels like he just says to purposely go.
Which one's Myron Gaines?
The nigga that claims he hates.
Oh, I haven't seen him.
Oh, wait, I like him. I'm just kidding. I'll show you a picture.
But he just says the wildest. Is there any validity to some of the things he says? A little bit. But it feels like straight rage.
Oh, but and then Mark should like it because he hates Israel.
He hates black people too, and he is as black as a black person could be.
But he looks weird.
He's one of them that, you know, he's not full. He's damn near, but he's got some other shit in him.
That's a good name, damn near.
Yeah.
What's it? A damn near.
Damn near.
You know what kind of?
He is a damn near. Yeah, he's a damn near.
All right. You want some dates? We'll already be done with this date, but we're leaving here to go to the Bahamas. But January 2nd through the 4th, we're going to be at Helium Comedy Club in St. Louis. January 8th through the 11th, we're going to be at the Irvine Improv. That is in California, in case somebody didn't know where Irvine was. January 16th, we're going to be at the Soundboard Theater in Detroit, Michigan. January 17th, we're going to be at the GLC Live at 20 Monroe in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And January 18th, we were supposed to be at the Binding Theater, but that got canceled, guys. So if you got tickets, get your money back because we ain't going to be there. January 23rd, we're going to be in Hawaii Theater in Honolulu. January 30th through February 1st, we're going to be at the Improv in Denver, Colorado. February 5th through the 7th, we're going to be at the Milwaukee Improv. And February 13th through the 15th, we're going to be at the Miami Improv. Let's throw in the February 19th through the 22nd, since we haven't been there for a year. We're going to be at the Improv in Houston. That sells out, man, so get your tickets if you haven't got them. I think we're going to have a lot of shows there this time.
Where is this?
In Houston. February 19th.
Oh, okay. I hope so, because that's a lot of cha-ching.
Okay, February 26th through March 1st. I got to add this because it's one of my favorite clubs in the whole country. DC Improv, guys. We're coming back to DC.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to leave it right there. Is that a show?
My voice is becoming more powerful than I ever thought.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit spearsburgpod.com.